The heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. And that is Saint Augustine, Ladder of Saint Augustine by Longfellow. And let's talk about that. Hey, welcome back, Warren here. So today I want to talk about pursuing our dreams to the end. Pursuing our dreams to the end. And I want to give you, obviously, Warren's take on what I think Longfellow meant, especially by that stanza of the poem. I mean, the poem is much more lengthy than that, but I just wanted to talk about that particular part of the stanza that Longfellow, I think, is referring to. And that, I think, is just seeing our goals through to the end. And I know that life gets a vote. I like to say that life gets a vote. So I know that it's easy for me to say that without considering certain things, such as, let's say, life getting a vote, like the funding for the program you're in that you really thought would be that kicker for your career is dried up. You have to leave college to go back home to be an emergency provider because someone who was providing in the family is no longer doing that for whatever reason. Medical, again, lost wages. I mean, the issues run the gamut. But for those who can, and I know life likes to say, or the current trend is the struggle is real, and that is true. But what if we don't look at it, especially if it is something that we're pursuing in terms of a long term goal or a long time goal? What if it's something like that? I don't think we ought to look at it per se as in a struggle, right? I mean, the struggle is real. The process is going to take hard work. We already know that, though. We already know that going in. But what if we look more at pursuing our goals as the commitment, right? The commitment. As others sleep, we're burning the candles on both ends. And there are balances to that too. I understand that. You can't continue that, right? The band cannot play the same song all night, over and over all night. As a matter of fact, that process is defined by Einstein as insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. But it also goes to our health. I mean, we have to find a balance. We have to find a balance in pursuing what it is. But for those of us who burn the candle on both ends, it is not a struggle, I don't think. I think for those people, as in the poem, it is that commitment where others are quick to throw in the towel. They lose focus. Let's talk about that. They lose focus because, let's face it, there are negative people in our lives that are going to say, hey, Warren, what do you think you're doing? You know, what makes you special? Why are you pursuing that? And I've had that happen in my career where it's easy to lose focus, where others will say things like, and I had this said to me once, gladly only once. Why are you busting your ass when everybody else makes the same pay that you're making? And I think at the time I was a sergeant. And there are people like that that are just so much after a goal that others see it as overreaching. But I've had that said to me. And it's easy for you to lose focus because in saying that, you might want to rethink, why is it that you are putting yourself through what you're putting yourself through to acquire this thing that you're trying to acquire? And it's easy. It's easy to give up on our goals because people like the guy in my past who said that throws a monkey wrench in our plans, and it sometimes trips us up and have us lose focus. But it brings me to not losing focus. It's easy to lose focus when others aren't very supportive, especially those that are close to you. But I just don't think we ought to look at pursuing lifelong goals, those healthy lifelong goals, as struggles. I think that process that we put ourselves through is a commitment, something else the others, as in the poem, like I said earlier, don't do. And that just brings me to another thing. Within that losing focus is ignore the noise. There will be a lot of that. Ignore the noise. There will be a lot of negative talk. There will be a lot of people who probably have these great ideas. I like to call them the good idea fairies. So you'll have some good idea fairies who mean well. Internally, they mean well, but their approach is just overwhelming. They're kind of always in your face because you shared those things. And then there are the opposite, the ones I talked about earlier that are like, who do you think you are? You're never going to do that. You're never going to amount to that. You're never going to reach that goal. That takes so much more planning and so much more school. Are you really going to do that? So you get all of that, but ignore the noise as I'm trying to do with the scenery. I wanted to give you a really cool scenery, but I don't know how this is going to come out. So hopefully the sound comes out. But yeah, ignore the chatter. The same thing you do with your intake of the internet and politics and all of the noise that's out there in the media, right? You have to filter that and ignore and take in only what you can use and what benefits your purpose. Because outside of that, as the Stoics tell us, you can't control the external effects on us, right? We can only control how we react to them. And in ignoring the noise, don't forget to be gracious. To be gracious, even for those overwhelming people. I mean, thank them for their insights and their input and create that boundary and let them know that you're considering it, you have considered it, and you've moved past it. Because no is a complete sentence, and some people don't like to accept that, and it's hard to accept that. But be gracious, but be firm, and just don't throw in the towel on your goals, even when the going gets tough. And I think, like I said in the beginning, that's just Warren's take on Longfellow, but I think that's what that particular stanza reminds us to do. And I think there's another side to that. Like, if and when we do trip up in that pursuit on our own, don't throw in the towel. Even those times when life gets a vote, if several years later you can go back to pursuing that goal and somehow the stars are aligned for you to do that, then do that. Do that. Don't throw in the towel because you were once tripped up. Like in the military, specifically in the army, we tell soldiers that you don't turn around because you meet obstacles, all right? Your order was not to turn around. Your order was to do this thing. And it considered that you would experience obstacles. It's up to you to navigate them. And just about every obstacle is navigable, all right? You can navigate around them, either by force, and in this case, a force of will, or in the example of the military, things that go bang, if that's the case. But don't turn around at your first, second, or tertiary obstacles. Even ambushes can be navigated. Even a good laid L-shaped ambush can be navigated. All right. So don't throw in the towel because life throws you a monkey wrench. Life gets to do that, right? That is the environment testing our will. And yes, it's hard. I am not going to sit here and be naive to the fact that what I'm talking about is not easy to do. Our will, when tested, sometimes when it rains, it pours, those times. When it is like that, yeah, we're going to want to. We're going to want to. Don't get me wrong. There are times you're going to want to. But it's just life testing our will. All right. So I started with just that snippet from the poem. And I think I want to end with you considering that the heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. All right, just consider that. And Don't give up. Don't give up on your goals and your dreams. All right. Don't give up on your goals and your dreams. Focus. Ignore the noise. Be grateful. And hey, look, guys, if you're still watching at this point in the video, you're rock stars and I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. But I'm going to leave it there. So, as always, be good out there. I think YouTube wants you to watch this one next. So, as always, be good out there. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next conversation. All right? Be good.